For weeks, there have been mind games coming from Prince Harry, who on more than one occasion had the palace staff convinced that he was going to pull out of the coronation at the very last minute. Now, according to some reports last week, Harry's team was hardly even answering emails from the palace, who were just trying to confirm his arrival details. And this is a move that has really upset his older brother William, the Prince of Wales. One of New Ideas Palace insiders has confided, no one was more frustrated by Harry's RSVP games than William. And the source also says that aside from unbelievable bad manners coming from Harry, he would have known all about the level of panic that his relentless yes, no, maybe procrastination must have caused the organizers. And let's not forget about the extra stress for his own father, King Charles. We're hearing that in the middle of Harry refusing to commit, Charles was also hoping that his sons would be willing to pose with him in a portrait during his historic coronation. But it sounds like William's patience for Harry has completely run out, meaning that a reunion between the two would be very cold behind the scenes. The insider says that William has lost all tolerance for Harry's little spoiled brat antics. To not know mere days before if he was going to be there was just appalling. And it's thought that William has become his own man since he stepped up as heir, and he's not consulting the firm on decisions any longer. Without their mother around, William feels partially responsible for Harry. According to New Idea, while the palace made every effort to make Harry feel included at his father's big day, even as rumors were circulating that he might be a last-minute no-show, insiders say that next time William might not be so accommodating. Wills doesn't want Harry at a family event ever again, insists the source, who alleges that William and Harry engaged in a 15-minute fight over Harry's attitude. If Wills had his way, Harry wouldn't be welcome back in the UK at all. If he's not going to show basic manners when it comes to RSVPs, it may be the last invitation he gets. Tragically, though, there doesn't seem to be much hope of reconciliation between the brothers, especially after Harry revealed that William took a secret payout from the owners of the Sun newspaper over those phone hacking allegations. A source reports, William can't believe that Harry would reveal something so personal about his own brother. Even if there is a brief moment of peace between the boys for the sake of their dad on his special day, no one expects the truce to last long. In other news, after all the betrayal, after all the lies, all the gaslighting, all the treachery, might the Queen finally have revealed the truth of what she thought about this whole horror show for Meghan and Harry, that Harry, of course, thrust upon the royal family? Well, after almost 70 years on the throne, Queen Elizabeth II had dealt with every type of human there is out there, from that nasty Putin to 16 British prime ministers and so many Commonwealth leaders from the realms and also Republic members of the British Commonwealth, and so many other heads of state too from all around the world. She would have been able to recall the abdication crisis of 1936 before she became queen, and the deadwood that Edward VIII was too. The Queen had dealt with friends, with family, with staff, with other European royals, and she met so many people throughout her lifetime. So I think it's pretty fair to say that the Queen certainly saw Meghan coming from a mile away, even before she came to the UK. Of course, she would have gotten MI6 to do a dossier on Meghan before she ever set foot through the palace gates. And then when Harry brought her to the Queen for the first time, she would have known exactly what was up with Meghan. So in spite of the fact that Prince Philip and Prince William and who knows who else in the family were begging Harry to reconsider, when the Queen gave her permission for her then-beloved grandson to marry that woman, I'm sure the Queen did so with a heavy heart, and her fingers were just crossed, knowing that history was about to repeat itself in a most tragic way. And then when the wedding finally happened, the Queen, who was a master of non-verbal cues, gave what may have been one of her most obvious signs of displeasure for the entire world to see at that. And I'm sure that as Meghan caught a glimpse of the Queen's eyes boring into her over her shoulder, she knew what the Queen was thinking. So when we consider all that, I don't think it's any wonder that the Queen, towards the very end of her days, broke her own rule, and she did say something direct about somebody who was still technically a member of the family, although obviously in name only. The Queen had so many fine qualities, but at the end of the day, she was a mother, a grandmother, and a great-grandmother, as well as Britain's longest-serving monarch. So if this was actually said, who could possibly begrudge her? The Queen knew that her time as Queen was coming to an end, and the clock was certainly ticking. So did she allow herself to have the freedom to say what she really thought instead of holding back? If she did allow herself that little indulgence, who could blame her? I mean, calling somebody evil is not really holding back, but after all of the pain that was thrust upon her own family and the people of the UK by this evil snake from California, I think calling Meghan evil is a really nice way to put it. And also, coming so close to the end of her life, the Queen would have known that her utterance would certainly find its way into the public arena, but probably after she passed. And I'm happy to say it finally has. And we've got to ask, was it deliberately leaked, perhaps? It's just one little word, but boy is it a heavy one, and now it is hanging over Meghan's head like a storm cloud. Because who else has such an epithet from her late majesty? So Meghan, I think that you should just wear that with pride, because nobody deserves that label more than you do, except for maybe Harry, who really brought all this mess into the family in the first place. Anyway, Meghan apparently has a new PR team, and I think they are behind the two stories that have popped up in the last 10 days. That letter to Charles about racism, and now those with the Queen. No, this is definitely Meghan's technique. The letter to Charles, if it was really written, why wasn't it mentioned in the Oprah interview, or even in that stupid book Spare? And the same with what the Queen supposedly said. Now, maybe it is something that the Queen really said, but I'm just not convinced. I still suspect that Meghan is putting these stories out to try to make the late Queen and the rest of the family look bad. And this is the reason that she and Harry have been saying all this about the family anyway. After all, there's no smoke without fire, and Meghan Markle lit a very big fire indeed. So she's got to try to find some way to redeem herself, because she truly believes that she is the innocent angel in all of this. Because supposedly, all Meghan really wanted to do was just be a loyal working member of the family. But they were so racist. It was such a toxic environment. She just couldn't survive. And the family kicked her out anyway. Well, the truth is, you gotta be 2 steps ahead of a narcissist at all times. And the family has never really come across a person like Meghan. So I do think that in the beginning, she caught all of them off guard. Because I think the family are filled with some pretty nice, normal, lovely people at the end of the day. Meghan Markle, though, is not nice. She's not lovely, and she's certainly not normal. So I can understand why maybe they didn't see who she was in the very beginning. And you, what do you think about Harry and Meghan? Please tell me your opinion below in the comments. If you think my video is useful, remember to like and share it with your friends and family who would love it anytime you want. And please subscribe.